probably one of the most intriguing actresses in Hollywood. Kristen Stewart shot to stardom in the Twilight franchise alongside Robert Pattinson. She then moved on to more challenging roles in independent movies. The American star is on the festival circuit with her latest film, Seberg. She plays legendary actress Jean Seberg, star of Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless. Kristen Stewart, hello.
Hello.
Congratulations on your film.
Thank you.
Seberg premiered in the Venice Film Festival just 40 years after the death of the American actress who starred in Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard. Why were you drawn to this story and this character?
Well, the first time that I saw Breathless, I loved Jean in it, but that initially was my only knowledge of her. I knew that she was sort of like French darling and came from the States and spoke French with a funny accent and had like, you know, just sort of jumped off the screen and felt present and honest in a way that American movie stars of that time didn't feel. And I had no idea that she was ultimately really like viciously attacked by the American government for supporting equality and being an activist in the 60s, which many people were.
Yeah, that's something that, I mean, I discovered that. That is something that very few people know about her.
I know. It's the irony of the story is that it's like, how did we not know this? It's like, well, it was successfully submerged by a great power, you know? The biggest draw was kind of vindicating her, you know what I mean? You watch the limited interviews that exist and you read a little more information about who she was as a person. Like she, at 14 years old, was already contributing to like the NAACP, and then like to be from Iowa and do that is actually just really radical and wild. And so I became really protective of her, like the idea that it was like really hard to be herself and everyone kind of had a different idea of her. I just thought like, you know, to play her in a movie rather than feel like so kind of addicted to detail, I just wanted to like nail that spirit and make sure that people like knew what happened to her, that what happened to her was really wrong. And I wish she'd like lived to see everyone know that, you know what I mean? She felt really isolated and really kind of crazy towards the end of her life. It led her to, you know, tragically end it.
This movie is partly about being politically outspoken, even when everyone is against you. How do you think this message is still relevant today?
I think it's easier nowadays to kind of find like minds. I think, not to sound too obvious, but just social media connects us in a way that if you were from Marshalltown, Iowa, and you wanted to feel a little less alone, it would be easier to do so. Having said that, there's still a really polarized climate.
As an actress who broke out in a massive franchise like Twilight, you're aware of your influence. Given the current situation in the US, do you feel the need to be politically outspoken?
I feel the need to just be honest and present, and I think that the choices that I've made, the stories that I've been drawn to, and the people that I align myself with, and the way that I do interviews, the way that I vote, that represents me fully, and I've always been really upfront about it. So yeah, I think that's very important. I think to do anything out of fear is just really no way to live, you know. So yeah, I've always been really upfront.
You're Hollywood's most high-profile LGBTQ actor. Do you feel like you're a role model for younger generation? I have to say, like, very honestly, I sort of was able to sidestep any real conflict about it. I just was so lucky to have it not be much of a struggle. And therefore, I'm really happy to talk about it and be open about it and support other people who've had a harder time. And so, yeah, that's like a really heartbreaking thing to see. And I feel it, you know, a lot because I didn't have it. And so, yeah, of course, if I can help anyone feel better about being themselves, I'm like so lucky to do that.
Kristen est une artiste qui possède ce don rare d'être à la fois hors du temps et d'incarner son époque au meilleur sens de ce terme. Son âme est dans ses films et elle donne aussi une âme à tout ce qu'elle approche. Si je suis si heureux de lui donner ce prix, ce soir, c'est parce que Kristen incarne spontanément, avec sincérité et pureté, ce que le cinéma peut susciter de meilleur.
Kristen Stewart was given the Deauville Talent Award at the French Film Festival by filmmaker Olivier Assayas, who she worked with on Sils Maria and Personal Shopper.
When I think of filmmaking, I think family. I imagine these great gaps being bridged and messy, gorgeous ebbs and flows of thought and impulse connecting us. To be honored in an atmosphere I have held in such reverence is definitely beyond the vocabulary that I have access to. So thank you for letting me attempt to talk about it tonight. I am so pleased to find myself a filmmaker among other filmmakers here. It's a dream we all get to keep living with.
There are similarities between Jean Seberg's career and yours. Like her, you star in American movies, but also French movies. In 2015, you were the first American actress to ever win a César Award, which is the equivalent to the Oscar here in France. It was for Olivier Assayas' movie Sils Maria. So France loves you a lot, obviously.
I love France too,
yeah,
so that works.
What do you love about France?
I like the cinema culture. In a lot of ways, the same as in the States when it's purely independent and explorative and artistic, when it doesn't feel like it's been commodified and sort of purely escapist entertainment industry-driven stuff. Like, you know, in the States, Hollywood is a business, and in France, film is culture. It's cultural, and so it just feels kind of like unsure alchemy of an equation where things come together and you tell a story, and who knows. It's really not about the result. It's about the exploration of a subject, and so for that, I love making movies here.
Sabina runs the ground game.
See, I know stuff.
Let's get the weapon before it becomes every bad guy's favorite new toy. Take her to the closet, gear her up.
We're gonna need some wigs, toys,
Feisty.
clothes.
Ah, we're still in the first closet.
There's another closet.
After the Twilight franchise ended in 2012, you took a different route and opted for more independent movies. And yet you're not shying away from the big production, because we'll see you soon in Charlie's Angel, probably your most mainstream movie for years. Why did you say yes to this project?
I love the movie, and I think Elizabeth is a really good filmmaker, and
Elizabeth Banks.
Oh, Elizabeth Banks, yeah. She had such a good idea for this. It's like, we've known Charlie's Angels for a long time. I've always loved those. I loved those movies growing up. I wanted to be friends with those girls. I wanted to be on that team. It's a good time to tell that story again, because just the idea of like power in numbers and a sort of delicate touch and like a feminine approach to strength in a way that didn't feel like we were playing dudes or like superheroes. Like, we're very, very real girls that, you know, together are stronger. And it just feels really warm and really sort of like beautifully well-intentioned and topical and modern and sweet and funny. And I loved it.
We in it together, but don't call me Angel.
We can't wait to discover it.
Cool.
Thank you very much, Kristen
Yeah, no
Stewart.
problem.
Have
Thank
fun
you.
here in Deauville.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.